Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and tomorrow is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's 1 year anniversary as Manchester United manager. I do presume he will be celebrating that tomorrow. Solskjaer has had his overarching view on it. I think he mentioned some of this building up to the game against Colchester tonight in the Carabao Cup quarter final. He says, it's been a very quick year. Obviously, he said it's been enjoyable, and he said, it is an honour and a privilege, and he's recently, spoken about obviously, us, lifting trophies, how important it is going to be, for Manchester United, to start lifting trophies, because obviously, Solskjaer is looking to build a squad worthy of the club's mystery. Of course, Solskjaer, was recommended into the football club in December of last year, following the dismissal of Jose Mourinho, and that. Obviously, Solskjaer came in at the first as the interim manager. Obviously, was the interim manager for 3 months, but Solskjaer, of course, did really well in that 3 month period as the interim boss. Obviously exceeded expectations. The results were good, the performances were good, and he got the best out of these group of players. And Solskjaer, of course, won his first 8 games. We won 14 games out of 19 in total. So obviously, reflecting on how good we did when he was the interim manager, we decided to give him the job on a permanent basis. We didn't really pay that much in compensation to Mould to obviously recommend him into the football club. He got the job in March earlier on this year. Obviously, he signed a 3-year contract worth around £7.5 million a year. But obviously, Solskjaer has been a permanent boss now for around 9 months, and obviously, analysing the vast majority of this 9 month period, obviously, Solskjaer has endured a very difficult time. Since he's got the job, he has been mainly under intense pressure at the football club, reflecting on our disastrous start to the season. We've obviously had like slight periods where I think we've done well, like when I've seen a variety of changes. I think we've created more chances in some games. We've seen to score more goals. Certain players have stepped up to the plate, which is absolutely fantastic. But in the vast majority of our games, we just haven't been consistent enough. And that's just basically me overarching view on it. But like I said, we've had some good games under Solskjaer. This season, we have done really well against elite opposition. But, we haven't, really replicated that against lower opposition. We've actually, been very inconsistent against lower opposition. But I've got to say, I think the best games we've had under Solskjaer one of them was Man City. That was most recent. We beat Man City by 2-1 at the Etihad. I've got to say that's Solskjaer's best game so far during his managerial career with Manchester United. Obviously, I think we also put a good performance out against Tottenham. We obviously replicated that against Alkmaar last Thursday in the Europa League. I think one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moments as Man United manager was that 3-1 win against PSG last season when we overcome a 2-goal deficit. And he also, I think, the Cardiff game was very good when we won 5-1. I think that's our biggest away win under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. Obviously Cardiff was the first game that Solskjaer... it was Solskjaer's first game as Manchester United manager. I think our worst game under Solskjaer is probably the 4-0 defeat to Everton last season. We lost 4-0 to Everton last season at Goodison Park. Obviously, after that game, Solskjaer had come out and apologised. So, but reflecting on the league, we're not in that commanding position, that we should be in. We're sitting 6th in the league. We're sitting 6th in the league. We've registered 25 points from 17 league games. We are 4 points behind top 4. But you've definitely got to say that, the Premier League's a priority. The Europa League's also a priority for us. And I think, we can still win some silverware this season. I think we've got a great chance of winning the Carabao Cup, because I think we'll progress into the semi-final tonight, where we should do anywhere. I think we can definitely win the Europa League. We are good enough to win that. So I think it'll be very, very good if we can get some silverware on the board, because we have been lacking silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. But like I said, I ain't gonna fully disregard the top four. Like I did around 3 or 4 weeks ago, because I was very, very skeptical at that point that we was gonna get that top four. But obviously now it's back on, because Chelsea have obviously lost their last 2 games in the league. They lost to Everton 3-1. They lost at home to Bournemouth at the weekend. I was disappointed, obviously, that we didn't beat Everton, because if we'd have beaten Everton, we'd have closed the gap to just 2 points now, so we'd have only been 2 points behind Chelsea. But I said if we get the top four this season, and if we win some silverware, and I'll analyse it and say, we've had a pretty decent season. But I said our expectations this season anyway will be to finish in that top four. I think our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons. But I think we've just drawn too many games this season. We've drawn 7. We've obviously lost 4. All the 4 games were lost. We shouldn't have lost to. We shouldn't have lost to Palace at home. We shouldn't have lost to Bournemouth away, Newcastle away, and West Ham away. And I think some of the draws, we should have won. We should have won at Sheffield United away, even though, we, didn't play well. We had like a 10-minute spell, didn't we, where we scored like 3 times in the space of 10 minutes. But we still should have hung on and won that game. I think we should have won at Wolves away. We should have won at Southampton, arguably. We should have beat Aston Villa at home. So, their points dropped there. But I did say at the start of this season that I don't expect us, to win the league this season. I didn't expect us to win the league this season. I don't expect us, to win the league for at least the next couple of years. I think, for us to be future title contenders, and for us to be back up there, being a competitive elite level football club, we need to get the right calibre players into Manchester United next year. That's very, very imperative. And obviously, we have got a lot of players on our agenda who could come in to the football club next year. But next year as well, we have got to address the deficiencies in the squad. Next year we've got to get a couple of midfielders in. We need to reinvest in that midfield, definitely, because that's one of the priority areas where Man United need to strengthen up. I think we also need to get a couple of attackers in, definitely. We need a right winger, and there's possibly other areas in the squad that do need to be addressed. But like I said, our board are determined to back Solskjaer in January and next summer. Solskjaer will be here in January. I presume he will still be here at the end of the season, more than likely. But I can almost assure that he will not see out his 3-year contract at the football club. But Solskjaer wouldn't have been here now anywhere. If we hadn't beaten Tottenham, or if we hadn't have beaten Man City, I think, he would have been sacked by now. But like I said, the vast majority of our players have got faith in him. I've got faith in him. Ed Woodward's still determined to stand by him. Obviously our board are willing to back him. I think, disregarding Solskjaer being a club legend and that, and, I think maybe he would have been sacked by now, because obviously, managers are getting sacked left, right and centre. You obviously saw Carlo Ancelotti got sacked from Napoli the other week, last Tuesday that was. You got Sanchez Flores that got sacked from Watford, less than 3 months in charge. You got Pochettino that got sacked, was it last month or month before, from Tottenham. Emery got sacked from Arsenal nearly 3 weeks ago. So it just proves now how ruthless boards are, because managers don't get the time that they would like anymore. So it's obviously different at this day and age. Total different generation. But yeah, like I said, no, he's not the right manager for Man United, Solskjaer. And I've credited Solskjaer, when he's deserved to be credited. I think in some games he showed tactical flexibility in that, which is good. But obviously that's been one of my element of concerns this season, because I've said he's been tactically naive in the vast majority of his games. But in some of the other games, he's been comparisons that he's showed some tactical flexibility, which is good. And Solskjaer's obviously goes with the 4-2-3-1 formation. We go with that on a regular basis. I know a couple of times he's gone with 3 at the back, and the odd occasion he's gone with a 4-3-3, but we mainly go with that 4-2-3-1 formation, But for me, Solskjaer doesn't have a style of play, he doesn't really have a plan B, so I can put that into the equation and say that's another element of concern about him. But analysing us this season, I know we've been mainly inconsistent, and Solskjaer is definitely accountable for some of that, but he's not accountable for all of it. Not all of the blame just stems from him. Everyone else needs to take responsibility, in the club and that. This is why I said, we need to see a variety of changes at the club. I said we need a change of management. I think it would be beneficial if we got a director of footballing. I think, we also need a new board, because our board have been a liability for several years. I think, a lot of the blame stems from Ed Woodward. Don't forget, recently Ed Woodward assured Galactico signings at Manchester United next year. So I think, we're going to try and get Galactico players in next year. Solskjaer recently said that it isn't guaranteed that, we will make many signings in January, but he's looking, to bring around 2 or 3 players in January. But it's going to take quite a few windows for us, to turn, the fortunes around, and all that. But 200, apparently, Solskjaer is, getting around what, according to recent reports, he's getting around the £250 million spending spree. And I think £250 million should be enough for us to get the right number of players in. I think probably for that we could get around 3-4 players, depending on how we are with our recruitment. We got 3 players in during the summer for nearly £150 million. And I credit Solskjaer for that, because he did recommend 3 good players to the squad during the summer. We got Daniel James in, we've got Wan-Bissaka in, and we've got Harry Maguire in. And they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. And I think, they've been our best players of the 3 signings that we recommended in. Daniel James has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He's still a prospect. He needs time to develop, though. But he has been a consistent start this season. But he's deserved to keep his place in the team, reflecting on his impressive performances and that. And I think, when he blends in very, very well when he's playing alongside the likes of Rashford and Anthony Martial. But I'm surprised the amount of games that Daniel James has played this season. And I'm also surprised, of how quickly, he's settled in, because I didn't expect him to settle in straight away. But very, very good player. Wan-Bissaka, I've got to say, I've been very impressed with him. I think he's the type of right back, we can rely on for the next decade. He will succeed at Manchester United, will Wan-Bissaka. He's immense, absolutely immense. And I think this season he's replicating, what he did with Crystal Palace last season. And you've got to say Maguire has addressed our defensive deficiencies. He has addressed our defensive deficiencies as Harry Maguire. I know we overpaid for him in that, but we've obviously overpaid for players in recent years anyway. I know he's totally comparison to likes of Virgil van Dijk and Laporte and all that, but I still think he's a very, very good centre half. And I think we've improved defensively, since he came in. I know we're still conceding goals and that. I think we've improved a bit in the attacking third of the pitch, which is good. But I've still got an element of concern, don't get me wrong. But yeah, and when Solskjaer, when he first got recommended into the football club, obviously he assured that everybody will get the chances to express themselves, and everybody more or less has been given their chances, and some couple of players at the club's now appearances are limited, especially in the Premier League. Prime example, Phil Jones. He obviously doesn't really get in the team now in the Premier League, because obviously Lindelof and Harry Maguire is his first choice. Obviously Marcus Rojo, he's another one. His appearances are limited. He's obviously injured at the moment. You've got Chon. He hasn't played as many games to the extent as I thought, he actually would have done. But in like the Carabao Cup and the Europa League, Chon will get more opportunities. But Solskjaer did confirm at the start of this season anyway, that all, our youngsters, will get their opportunities. And that's one aspect to me that credits Solskjaer. He has got a lot of faith in his young upcoming players. And I did say, we've got a lot of young players in the squad, and Solskjaer, wants to recruit more young players into the team. But I've got to be honest, I think, the likes of Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuanzebe, James Garner, they'll all become successions at the football club. And Don't get me wrong, I've got some element of concerns about some of the upcoming players. So this is why I did say, it would be beneficial if we did, get rid of some of them next year. But I think overall, anyway, there's still more players that need to leave Manchester United next year. I think, we need to get rid of another 4 or 5 more players. But yeah, so definitely, these still problematic players at the football club. But I've got to be honest, I've been very, very impressed there with Mason Greenwood. He's been absolutely fantastic. I think now, he'll end up overtaking Anthony Martial. I think Martial now could start getting dropped in quite a lot of games if Mason Greenwood, does keep his consistency up. It's becoming difficult to leave him on the bench. Mason Greenwood is in scintillating form. 3 goals in his last 2 games. 1 against Everton, 2 against Alkmaar last Thursday. 7 in total in all competitions this season. The vast majority of his goals have come in the Europa League. Only at the age of 18. But I think as he develops more, he will overcome the likes of Rashford and Anthony Martial. Taking into account, though, Rashford and Martial are still very, very good players, and they've got a lot of years ahead of them. But Mason Greenwood needs to start. He needs to play more on a regular basis, and he's only started 1 game from the start this season in the Premier League, and that was against Tottenham. Obviously, in that particular game, he was fulfilling Anthony Martial's role, because Martial, of course, was out with a muscular problem. Was initially out earlier on in the season with a hamstring injury. He was out of action for a while. But, Martial, anyway, adds more inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. He does operate in that number 9, does Martial. He got given that number 9 shirt at the beginning of this season. I think he's more effective in that central position, even though he predominantly plays out wide. Just recently turned 24 years of age. But very, very impressed with Mason Greenwood. Brandon Williams, I think, we now view him as our first choice left back. We've got a variety of fullbacks in the team anywhere. But I think now Brandon Williams is our first choice left back. Luke Shaw's been our first choice left back for several years. But obviously now Brandon Williams has come onto the equation. He is only 19, signed a new long-term contract not too long ago. He's good at bombarding forward, defensive distribution, fantastic, very, very good player. And Tuanzebe, I think in the games he's played in this season, he's done really, really well. And I think he'll succeed at Man United. His versatility is also very, very good, because he can also play as a fullback and a wing-back and Tuanzebe, but I think he's predominantly a centre-half. But he's just recently recovered from a hip injury himself. Like James Garner, he's also a very, very good player. Well, I still say I haven't really seen enough of him yet, but I've seen some aspects of his game where he's actually quite good. James Garner, I think he'll be playing tonight, to be quite honest with you. Obviously, you saw my preview for the Manchester United versus Colchester game. Like I said, it's tonight. 8 o'clock kick-off in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. It should be very, very imminent, that we are going to win this game. I think, we'd be I think we're a liability to win tonight, because, we haven't been trustworthy, against lower teams this season. We only just got past Rochdale in the 3rd round. Fair enough, we beat Chelsea in the 4th round to progress to the last 8 of the competition now. But I've got to say, Colchester are no mugs. They've progressed to the last 8 of the competition. Don't forget, on their way to the last 8, they've beaten 2 Premier League teams. They've beaten Palace, they've beaten Tottenham. I think the other 2 they've beaten Swindon and Crawley. Obviously, Colchester are 9th in League 2. But it's going to be a very, very interesting game. Of course, Solsjaker, is going to make a variety of changes, from the 1-1 draw with Everton. He is going to go with the youngsters tonight. I told you I think it's going to play Romero will be in goal. He'll be Young at right back, if not Young Dalot, providing Dalot's fully fit, because Dalot's actually sustained quite a few injuries this season. I think, it will be Jones and Tuanzebe as a centre-back partnership. Maybe could be Lindelof, could be Maguire there alongside Jones. But I think it would be Tuanzebe, because we're going to rest key players, because obviously, Watford's on the horizon. It will be Brandon Williams at left-back, I should presume. I think the midfield will be Matic alongside Garner. I think McTominay and Fred will also be rested. And I said, Greenwood will play up top. Probably Chon will be on the left or the right. And I think Pereira will also play, and I think Mata will operate in that number 10. But we should win this game anyway. One thing I can assure, that obviously, Paul Pogba is not going to be playing. Hopefully, Paul Pogba is back for the Watford game on Sunday. It got revealed yesterday that Paul Pogba has been out, with an illness. He just, got this illness as Paul Pogba, I think a couple of days. It was after he attended his brother's wedding in France. He's got an illness, but Paul Pogba initially returned from injury because he's obviously been out with an ankle injury for over 3 months now. He's been out with this ankle injury. He hasn't played since September. Solskjaer did confirm that Paul Pogba was expected to return to training next week, which is this week. He said that prior to the Everton game. He said he was expected to return to training this week, but obviously now due to this illness that's occurred, but obviously now that's not going to be happening. Pogba's missed the last couple of days of training due to this illness. But I think, when we do get Paul Pogba back in the team anywhere, it will be very, very beneficial because we know the difference he does make in that midfield. But I've got to be honest, with Paul Pogba's absence, I think Fred has fulfilled his position fantastically well because I think Fred and McTominay, to be fair, have blended in very, very well together in our midfield and that. I'm sceptical about them, keeping the consistency up, and I don't know if they are the long-term solutions for Man United, but I've got to say, McTominay's been a revelation this season. He deserves to keep his place in the team, reflecting on his good run performances. And Fred's rejuvenated himself recently, to be fair. So I've been very, very impressed with them. But, they're totally comparison to Paul Pogba. Obviously, Paul Pogba's on a different level, and Ryan Giggs recently come out and said when Pogba's back in our midfield, that will put us up. That'll take us to another level, basically. It will take us to another level when he's back in the team, Paul Pogba. When he is back in the team and that. But I still think Paul Pogba wants to leave the football club anyway. But I was reading reports today and it says, we're not going to allow Paul Pogba, to leave the football club for Real Madrid in January. Even if Pogba doesn't go in January, I think he'll go next summer. If he doesn't go next summer, then I think, he will go at some point in the future. And I don't think from now he'll spend the entirety of his career with Manchester United from now. That is obviously, we got him back from Juventus back in 2016. We paid obviously £89 million for him, so he's obviously our most expensive signing. But Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player that Paul Pogba is. And when he is fully fit, Solskjaer's confirmed he will get a lot of games under his belt because he's missed the vast majority of our games this season due to injury. Dalot could be involved tonight, could play tonight, not too sure. That's the update that Solskjaer provided us with. Baye and Fosu-Mensah, I don't know if they're training now. Before the Everton game, Solskjaer said they would be back in training this week, so I do presume that Eric Baye and Fosu-Mensah are in training. So we have got games coming up thick and fast, like I mentioned. Colchester tonight, Watford on Sunday, Newcastle on Boxing Day, Burnley then 2 days later on the 28th, Arsenal on New Year's Day. So we have got games coming up thick and fast over the festive season. And hopefully, we can register as many points as we can. Because we've got obviously got to win games. To keep our hopes up. For that top four. Top four and that. Obviously, I give you the breaking news, didn't I? Earlier on regarding Erling Haaland and that. Solskjaer's actually identified his two priority targets for January, and that is a Haaland and Jadon Sancho from Borussia Dortmund. But like I said on my video this morning, it's very, very imminent that we're going to sign Erling Haaland, in January, according to recent reports anywhere. He's going to be our first signing, I think, in January. Our fourth signing overall under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, which is obviously very, very good. So it said we're confident that we're going to sign him. They have given us the fee, it's around £76 million. That's what Man United are going to have to pay for him. This is what, it has said. We're going to have to pay £76 million for Erling Haaland. But reportedly, we will then have to loan him back to Red Bull Salzburg for the rest of the season. That's what it says according to recent reports. More speculation, more speculations being fueled up because reportedly Erling Haaland, signed Manchester United shirt. Fabrizio Romano, he's confirmed, the number of clubs that are in for him, and he actually says that Man United, Juventus, RB Leipzig and Borussia Dortmund have all placed bids in for, Erling Haaland. Obviously, it will be a variety of, prices, that them teams have offered, I should presume. But yeah, that's what it said. Solskjaer obviously flew out to Austria last Friday, with Ed Woodward, obviously to meet up with Erling Haaland to discuss a January transfer to Manchester United. But we have been in for him, for quite a long time now. I think Erling Haaland told Solskjaer recently that he wants to join Manchester United, but Solskjaer did say that from Erling Haaland's perspective, he has made a decision on his future. So I think Erling Haaland, wants to come to Manchester United, probably because, he knows we're a big club. Obviously, it could be something to do with Solskjaer. Don't forget, he has played under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's guidance during his time with Mould as Erling Haaland. And Solskjaer's obviously keen on a reunion with the player, but he's been a revelation this season as Erling Haaland. 28 goals in 22 games in all competitions. He's done well. I think this is his first season with Red Bull Salzburg, but I think if he comes to Manchester United, he can replicate what he's done with Red Bull Salzburg so far this season. And I think he's on around £1 million a year. Obviously, I think he's demanding a wage increase for his next club, but I think it's very imminent, even if he doesn't come to Man United, that he will leave Red Bull Salzburg. I think he's recently told he's wished his teammates goodbye at Red Bull Salzburg. So yeah, I do believe that Manchester United are going to sign him. Only 19 years of age as well, so still got a hell of a lot of development in him. But I think he's a player that will be good for us. He'll represent the club well. I think he's a player that can score goals, which he's proven this season. He can create chances. He's good at bringing more players into play. And I think it would be beneficial anyway to get another number 9 in. But yeah, that's the latest news regarding Erling Haaland and that. We need more than Erling Haaland. No, we've got to build on that. We need obviously more signings in. We need 2 midfielders, like I said. We need to get them right winning. If we got Jadon Sancho in, I would be very, very delighted about that. Definitely. But yeah, and I know that Solskjaer, can't invoke Ferguson's legacy, to save him at Manchester United. Solskjaer won't replicate what Ferguson's done. Regardless who our manager is, they'll never replicate, what Ferguson's done. Don't forget, Ferguson was recently discussing his legacy, that is obviously, left at Manchester United and that. And, we'll never replicate that, Just wanted to say that to you guys. But I haven't seen any improvements under Solskjaer, than what I saw under Mourinho, Van Gaal and David Moyes. No improvements whatsoever. But Solskjaer's officially got a worse record than Jose Mourinho. That's been confirmed. He's got a worse record. But yeah, so that's the big news to give you an update on. Like I said, it's Solskjaer's 1 year anniversary tomorrow as Manchester United manager. He will celebrate it. Like I said, he's given his overarching view on it all. It's been a quick year. He's enjoyed it and that, and he says, it's been a privilege. It's a privilege and it's an honour and stuff like that. And he recently spoke about the importance of us lifting, trophies and that, because that's our ambitions for the future. Winning trophies and getting back up there, being competitive, like he has said. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. My reaction for the Man United Colchester game will be coming up tomorrow. It won't be tonight. It will be tomorrow. My match reaction. I gave you the news, didn't I, recently regarding Carlo Ancelotti. He still hasn't been fully announced yet as Everton manager. I think he's going to be announced as Everton's manager either tomorrow on Friday. It said before the end of the week. And Carlo Ancelotti as well is reportedly set to appoint his son and Duncan Ferguson as Everton's assistants. Obviously, Duncan Ferguson at the moment is, temporary boss at Everton. This is his third game tonight as Everton manager against Leicester. But I think, Ancelotti, should be in charge by the time Everton play Arsenal. Is it on Saturday or Sunday? But he'll do really, really well for them. I think Ancelotti will do a good job with Everton in that. But yeah, so the news on that, because he had negotiations with Everton on Monday, regarding the managerial role. It's obviously now Everton's primary candidate, and I think his contract's it hasn't been sorted out, or will be sorted out if it hasn't. I don't know. What I read up, it says he's going to sign a contract with Everton until 2024. So that's like, what, a 4.5 year deal. But he's their replacement for Marco Silva, who was sacked earlier on this month. So yeah, guys, anyway, drop your comments, likes below on this channel. If you do, consider, like I said, subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you guys all again very, very soon.